Thank you, Wayne. This is my first EP. I'd like to read a short extract from Sand Swimming. It's somewhere in the middle of the piece. The African cook would arrive for his shift, his white cotton turban tied effortlessly, his shirt pressed perfectly, exquisite against his dark Kenyan skin. The sisters, Poppy and Lavinia, would visit him often before school. He would welcome them with his wide smile, revealing strong, perfectly lined teeth. He would offer them slices of carrot, sugar snaps, leftover chapati with ghee, and sometimes he would even add the sultanas that lazily bathed in syrup. It was then his work would begin. They would watch him crack open spice tins, effortlessly slice onions, split garlic bulbs with his fist, ruminate cloves for their size, and count the fresh green chilies that shone like emeralds, patiently awaiting their grand entrance. In exchange for Swahili, they would offer him English. Every day he learnt more words. As they slipped and slid in Swahili, he caught a hold of English, his tongue keeping each word hostage. As they grew to know their place over him, he also grew to know his place in their master's tongue. One morning, Poppy woke again to the sound of raised voices. She was sad because she was having a good, enjoyable dream. She was swimming in sand. It was difficult but doable, but there was a knack to it and she had figured it all out. With the lack of water, she had now become a sand swimmer. Others watched and walked on by as she negotiated the sand between her fingers, moving one way and then the other, her body springing from straight lines to wide crosses as she breaststroked beneath the surface. But just before she reached the other side, she woke. Father hated the neighbour. There were many reasons why he hated him, but this particular morning the list was met by Mother's quips and rebuttals. Among the waves of cursing and criticisms, Poppy caught hold of something troubling. The hatred had finally taken its toll, and her father had found a solution. He had been to the bank, he had withdrawn some savings, he had given the money to the African cook. In exchange for their savings, the African cook had agreed to kill the neighbour. Mother was astounded. How could a grown man think of such a stupid thing? How could a grown man act on such a stupid thought? What could possibly have driven her husband to have a man killed? This was not child's play. Poppy considered all this. She did not like the neighbour man. He was irritating. He never said hello. He always wore the same mauve trousers. His side parting began too far over to the left. His sandals revealed overlapping toes. He was the opposite of what she thought a neighbour should be. The ones from her storybooks were white, had moustaches and mowed lawns. Poppy had often felt like punching him herself, but killing him for this. Besides, there was a huge problem. The neighbour man's wife, the woman with the bouncy curls, had a huge baby in her stomach. Poppy was breathless with the thought of this. She had been watching the wife from her bedroom window every morning, the wife's belly growing bigger and rounder every day as she hung spotless white sheets on a line. Poppy wondered why she didn't just give it to the African house girl, why she insisted on coming out with pegs, sheets and clothes, balancing each on her tummy, occasionally stopping to rub it when she was fatigued. A woman's worth in her home is judged by the whiteness of her sheets, Mother explained. Sometimes, whilst watching the neighbour man's wife, Poppy had a feeling. It was deep, grew slowly and bound itself inside her abdomen, so much so that she could not undo, she could not unthink, she could not unfeel this feeling. Sand swimming had now become a thing in Poppy's dreams. Night after night she dreamt the same. In the dream there was never any water. She was learning to breathe through the grit and dust. This wasn't soft, white, beautiful sand. It was sand you had to work at. It was sand mixed in dark colours, sand that threatened to turn to stone. The people would watch her swim. They would marvel at the sight of her handling the strange mini waves that rippled towards them all. Some would shake their heads in wonder, and some would even comment on the stupidity of it. But in her dream, she ignored them, knowing they were all too frightened to try and make the impossible possible. Thank you.